Hi, welcome to our Bible study. This is Turnaround Tuesday, and we've started something new. We're doing stories, poems, and songs. So today I have a new story for you. It'll be a story about my younger life. It's taken about 57, 58 years ago. We lived in Phoenix, Arizona at the time. My husband and I and our two children. We had Debbie was 3. And Mike was about 2 or 3 months old at the time. My sister asked me if I would babysit her child, who was a year and a half old. So I had 3 babies. The oldest one was 3. I had my hands full, I felt like. I was the youngest in my family, so I'd never been around a lot of babies or children because I was the baby. So I had to learn how to be a mother. My day was very hectic most days because I had 2 babies on bottle, 2 babies in diapers, and I had to feed each one of them separately. I had to prepare Debbie's food for her and the baby's bottle for him and Dennis's food, his baby food. He was on baby food and a bottle still. So I had a lot of work to do. It seemed like I was constantly fixing food for one of them or changing their diapers or putting them down for a nap or helping them get up where they fell in the floor and just constantly watching them and on guard that nothing happened to any of these precious children. Back then we only had cloth diapers, so every other day or so I had to wash diapers. And hang them out on the line because I had a washing machine, but I didn't have a dryer. So since we lived in Phoenix, I could hang them on the line, and I enjoyed getting out and doing that for that few minutes. But I was worried that something would happen to one of the children. I tried to do it while they were taking a nap, but I could hang up Mikey's diapers. Start at one end of the line, and by the time I got to the other end of the line, the first ones would be dry. That's how fast things dried out there because of the weather. It would be over 100 degrees when I'd be out there hanging up those diapers. I know Debbie was a big help. She was only 3, but she loved babies, so she would try to help me when Mike was first born. She was like 2.5, and I went in one day and she was sitting in the middle of the bed holding him. I don't know how she got him out of his crib, but she always loved babies. Well, one day I realized I was getting so tired and I was getting thin, but I had started watching this program called Jack LaLanne. So while I was feeding Mike, sometimes I'd sit in the rocking chair in the living room and watch this program, and then sometimes if he was asleep, or I could put him in his little swing in the house and he would rest, and Dennis was playing quietly and Debbie was okay, I'd do the exercises with Jack LaLanne, like I didn't have enough to do to keep myself exercised. But one day I remember I was in the kitchen and Debbie came running, "Mama, Mama, Jack LaLanne is on, Jack LaLanne." So she took my hand and pulled me into the living room, and we got in the floor and did the exercises with Jack LaLanne. But during this time, I became anemic. I didn't know I was anemic. I didn't know why I was so tired. I didn't know why I could hardly drag. And I had bronchitis, and I didn't know I had bronchitis. I knew my baby was sick, and when I took him to the doctor, he checked my chest as well because he could hear the rattle in there and knew that I had bronchitis too. So it was kind of a hard time in life. My mother was like 3,000 miles away, and my sister was there, but she was working and I was trying to help her. Well, one day after an extremely hard day, when I just really didn't feel able to do the work that I needed to do for these children, I hadn't started supper. My husband came in from work. He was working in Scottsdale at a grocery store at the time, and he came in for supper, and there was no supper on the table that day, and there was no supper even started. And I said, "I've just had a real hard day. I haven't even started supper yet." So he went to the kitchen and he said, well, I'll go ahead and get it started. And he got the food out and began to prepare it. And he looked around. He needed to stir a pot of something that he had put on the stove, and he couldn't find a clean spoon. And the sink was loaded with dirty dishes and dirty dishes on the counter. And he said, well, I can't even find a clean spoon in this kitchen. And I said, well, I'm sorry, but I don't feel well, and this baby's sick, and I haven't been able to do everything I need to do today. So I washed him a spoon. I put the baby in his swing or on the bed, and I washed him a spoon, and we got supper on the table. Took us both to the doctor the next day, and I was anemic, and so the doctor gave me something that would help me, and I got to feeling much better. Later, years later, when things were easier for me, I wrote this little poem about that day when my husband couldn't find a clean spoon. It goes like this. Dirty dishes everywhere, and not a spoon that's clean. Dirty dishes everywhere, more than I've ever seen. And when I get them all washed up, I turn around and look. There's hungry people everywhere. It's time once more to cook. And when I get through cooking, what do I see again? Dirty dishes everywhere. Oh, will this never end? I think I would be happy if I never saw another dish. But shucks, there's no use thinking that. It's just an idle wish. So get up and start washing. Come on, get on the beam. So as when it's time to cook again, you can find a spoon that's clean. The scripture for today says, who can find a virtuous woman? For her price is far above rubies. And one part of those verses says, she looketh well to the ways of her household, and eateth not the bread of idleness. Proverbs 31:27. And the first part was Proverbs 31:10. Sometimes we want to be that virtuous woman, and we want to look well to the ways of our household, and we don't want to eat the bread of idleness. But sometimes we get sick, and we have to lay down a while. We have to rest a while. So take care of yourself, women of God who have families to raise and jobs to do, jobs to go to. I know that life gets hectic sometime for you. But God will help see you through it and take time for yourself to rest. And you'll be a better mother and a better companion for it. God bless you today. I pray that life will be sweet for you and your children and your husband. And that things will work out for you. That blessings will come your way today. I'll see you again next week on Turnaround Tuesday. Bye for now.